What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. It's been a little while. I have been crazy busy, but also somehow super lazy at the same time, if that makes any sense at all. But office has been a little bit cluttered lately. I've been picking it up through the week, so this is just kind of all that remains. It's just a few items laying around, so I'm just gonna pick this up real quick because I feel like I need to get it done in order to be productive. Whether or not I actually need to, I don't know. It's probably just one of those things where I feel like I have to do something. But yeah, I'm gonna get this finished real quick and then we're gonna get on with the video. I think that'll do it. Brand new M4 Max MacBook Pro. So this thing, I spec'd it out pretty well. I ended up going with the 14-inch model instead of the 16-inch to save a little money there. But it has 64 gigs of RAM. I fully spec'd out the CPU and GPU, so maxed that out. And then it has a 2 terabyte hard drive in it. So pretty good specs. I'm excited to test this thing out with some video editing. I haven't used it yet for much of anything. I've just downloaded a few programs and started to get things set up on here. So I'm excited to try it out. But I ended up going with the 14-inch instead of the 16. Like I said, to save a little bit of money, but also like usually when I'm using my laptop, I have it hooked up to my monitors anyway. And it's only like every so often when I'm traveling where I actually need to use the laptop screen. And then I also have my iPad that I use as like a secondary screen, so I think it'll be pretty good, even though I went with the smaller one. But also it's super light, so that's a benefit of downsizing too. And before I got this, I have been rocking this i9. This one's about 6 years old now. And honestly, this thing has still been going like a champ. The only problems I've noticed is like it's slowed down like with the heavier workloads for video editing. Like when I do like 4K, or especially if I'm using like the Lumix S9 and I do like an OpenGate recording, those files get pretty huge, and so like the rendering takes a long time, especially when you're working with like S-Log and the color grading stuff. So it's a lot of effort for this one to do, but I intend to use this still for like schoolwork. Yeah, but the last time when I got this one, I actually had one before this, and what I did when I got this one was I used the trade-in program to get a little extra money towards this. But this time I wanted to keep this one because this one still runs really well. And it's got an i9 in here, which means it's still good for like virtualization. So I intend to set up a couple of lab machines for my master's degree. There's a lot of lab machines that they give you. They do a lot of security scenarios where they already have all the data put onto a few machines, but the size of them is pretty big, so I couldn't have both the VMs and also have enough space to do video editing on here. So between that and the slowdown for the editing process, I thought it was time to finally pull the trigger. And now I have a dedicated lab machine for my master's degree. And with that, I realized I haven't even done like a new office video since I've moved into this new office. I know I've had several videos in here now where you kind of see like this background. I've got the shelf up with a bunch of Legos and stuff on it. And then I've got this R34 GTR with the neon taillights that I recently put up. So those are some pretty sweet additions. They really help set a nice vibe in here. But This is the new office. We renovated the basement a little bit and added another room. So this used to be the guest room, and now it's my office, and we built another guest room. So in here I have a pretty nice setup. I have a lot more space. Before I was in that pretty tiny closet where I could just stretch out my arms and touch wall to wall. So now I have a lot more room to move around and a lot more availability to set things up and get a nice vibe going in here. So yeah, here's a quick little tour of the new office. So over here, I kind of set up a secondary desk. I thought it might be nice to have for either like unboxing stuff or setting up new stuff. Also, if I need to, I have another monitor that I can set up over here, which I thought about maybe doing so I wouldn't have to continually switch between my main desk setup for all my different laptops. And you see another Mac there. That one's just for work. But usually what I do right now is I have this docking station. And so I just swap back and forth between all my laptops that I need for various work, and it just hooks up to all my double monitor setup and keyboard, mouse, and everything. It's all plugged into the dock, and so it's good to go. But yeah, both of these desks are like electronic standing raising setups, which is nice because then you can also pick like your default sit height too. So for me, like I'm really tall, so I feel like usually desks are kind of like a little low, so I find myself like hunching over them all the time. So it's nice to be able to have just that little bit of variability even on the sitting. I don't feel like I find myself standing very much, especially right now because I have like, you can see the speaker there, and then there's another one right behind that monitor on the little end table here. But the cables kind of go across the back, and so like when you're adjusting the desk height and stuff, sometimes things get caught, and so it gets kind of tangled and messy when you're raising it up and down. So at some point I think I might, I don't know, either one, get a bigger desk where I can fit my speakers on it as well, or maybe get like some speaker stands so it's kind of more out of the way, or possibly even get some smaller speakers set up so they fit on the desk better, because currently these things they're pretty hefty. These are the Pioneer DJ, and they're super nice. Sound quality is really good, but yeah, they're pretty big. So yeah, double desks. I have this nice shelf that I picked up from Amazon, and I just threw a bunch of like Lego sets that I've been putting together lately. So this one's pretty cool right here. Got the Porsche RSR, another Porsche up here. And then we got the Piranha Plant, got Rocket and Venom Groot, Infinity Gauntlet. Recently picked up a couple of Star Wars kits. Got the R2. These figures I picked up while I was over in Japan. Got a few more cars, camera gear down at the bottom, 3DS and some games and stuff, and then my router is sitting down there in the corner. Gaming box down here. Some nice ambient lighting behind the shelves and in the corners. Those are all GoV lights. I use the LED strips and then the light towers. The light towers are super nice. The LED strip was pretty cheap, and it works, and it fits nice on the back of the bookshelf. But it doesn't have as many like features as the light stands do. But still nice to have. And then over on the other side of the room, I have my bike set up on my Wahoo trainer. That is the Wahoo Kicker Move, so you kind of get a little bit of movement in, so it feels like you're less stuck on a trainer, which is kind of nice to have that. But also, I don't know if it was like worth the extra money, but it is nice to have. And then I've got a Peloton tread with a TV set up over there. And then a couple of like awards and Funko Pops that I have over here. So I've got my medals from my half marathon and full marathon, and as well as my half Ironman and full Ironman. Being inducted into the senior non-commissioned officers. So I put on Master Sergeant a couple of years ago. And if you're familiar with the military ranking system, that's in the top tier of the enlisted structure. And then I also have a couple of bodybuilding awards from my last show that I did. I actually placed on that one, so that was kind of nice to finally get some validation of all the work that I had been putting in. And then I have this flag here, which I picked this up on a deployment back in 2016, 2015 maybe. They had like a little program there. You'd pick up a flag and you'd go give it to like the operations flight, and a pilot would take it on the jet with him and fly it while he was running his missions that day, and they'd bring it back for you. Just kind of like a cool little a thing that they did over there, and that was pretty cool to bring back. So I've had that hanging up in my office for a while now. And then right here I have a bunch of like random coins. I haven't gotten like coined by anyone like really cool or anything. Most of them are just different squadron coins that I've picked up over my time in the service so far. And then yeah, that's pretty much the entire office. But yeah, like I said, it's super nice being able to set things up in here and have like a nice vibe going with all the fun stuff that I've picked up over the years. In addition to all that, I recently posted an update on my website. If you haven't checked that out before, I'll leave a link in the description below. But I hop on there every now and then and I update it with my workouts that I've been doing. So I've been using it the past couple of years. I honestly don't change my workouts all that often. I probably use them for at least like 3 to 4 months at a time before I start changing them up. And so I don't post on there too often, but there's a handful of different workouts on there, different varieties. So like the recent one that I posted is 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off. And so there's 6 different workout days, and that one is more of a bodybuilding focus. I finally kind of gotten back more into the bodybuilding focus since finishing up the Ironman back in November. So that's been a fun switch to kind of finally work on building that strength back up again. So that one is on there, and then my previous one that I did, which was a 3-day-a-week full body workout, is on there as well. So there's plenty of different stuff on there. Feel free to check it out, modify it as you need. If you're new to working out, feel free to make adjustments, make it a little easier, and that kind of thing. And if you need any tips, feel free to post comments down below or leave a comment on the posts on my website. And but yeah, let me know what you think if you check those out. And with that, that's all I've got for the video. Hopefully I'll get back into more of a creative flow. I've definitely missed making videos this last month, so hopefully I can get back more into it and start getting back into a consistent flow. But yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one, and thanks for tuning in. You gonna say anything, Bruce?
Hello.
Don't you mean goodbye?
Goodbye.